Well, Abby, today, we've been talking a lot about different properties of matter, and we're going to look at a very important one, and that's the volume of a substance or an object. And we know volume is just kind of that amount of space that anything takes up. Liquids, solids, gases all have their own volume, and we can measure that. And I know probably if I gave you a cup of liquid here and said how much liquid's that, we'd have a hard time just looking at that and telling, wouldn't we? But do we have a piece of equipment that maybe we could use that would help us know how much we have in there?
Graduated cylinders?
Right, graduated cylinders. We use those for volume measurement if we're measuring a liquid. And you've done this in class. I'm just going to let you go ahead, use that graduated cylinder there, and just tell us the volume of that liquid. So the graduated cylinder, it's got lines on it called graduations, and we can actually use those to know measurement. So what do we have there?
250 milliliters.
Okay, so we got 250 milliliters of purple liquid, right? So really easy to measure a liquid, but where volume measurement gets a little trickier is if I give you an odd-shaped object, something like this rock. Now, obviously, it's not going to, fit in a graduated cylinder and measure volume like we would do with a liquid. So we have to find a different way to do it. And the way we can do that is through a process called displacement. And in order to do that, we use something called, I like to use these overflow cans here. You can do it a variety of different ways. But the theory behind displacement, or the reality behind it really, is that you can take an object, place it in water, and it's kind of like if you get in the bathtub or get in the little kid's pool or something like that, somebody jumps in, what happens to the water level?
All of it, it rises.
Yeah, it rises up. And if you get too many people in the kid's pool, the water overflows, right? So it's that idea that if you're putting matter in place of other matter, something has to kind of give and move out of the way. So if you put the more dense solid object into the water is going to basically move out of its way, and it's going to take the place or displace that water. So that's what we're going to look at. And in order to do that, we've got our overflow can, and we've got a beaker that can sit underneath. And we just want to fill the overflow can until it starts running over. So go ahead, just add a little bit of water to that overflow can there, and go ahead and fill it up to that outlet on it there. And once it gets to that point, it'll start flowing out. There you go. Oh, that's good.
Okay.
All right, so the water is coming out of the overflow can now, and we're just going to let it drain down until it's not coming out anymore. And then we'll know that anything else that we put in is going to make the can overflow. All right, so we've got our liquid in the overflow can here, and it's obviously flowed out a little bit, but it's right up there at that outlet now. We're just going to get rid of the extra and place that back underneath, because now what we can do is take our object and just drop it down gently in the overflow can.
That wasn't too gently.
Well, that's okay. It's a heavy object. It'll sink pretty quickly, but once we do that, it's going to start overflowing again. And we just wait for it to stop, and then we can, again, use a graduated cylinder to get our measurement. We'll see how we do that here in just a minute when it stops flowing over. All right, so it's done overflowing now, and all of this water that's in our beaker now, that's the water that's been displaced by the rock. So is it safe to say now that the volume of the water is going to equal the volume of the rock, right? So let's go ahead, and I've got a smaller graduated cylinder here. We'll move this out of the way. And go ahead and pour that into our graduated cylinder. Let's see what the volume of that water is that we displaced with the rock. All right, and we have
60 milliliters.
Okay, so it is. It's right at 60 milliliters, right? So we know that our rock, I'm going to spill this out in the process of getting the rock out, but we know that our rock has a volume of 60 milliliters because that's the amount of water that we displaced in our overflow can. An easy way to tell the volume of a solid object.